its wings at ground level to kick up blinding sand. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Very docile. If attacked, it will often kick up sand to protect itself rather than fight back. Pokemon Crystal. It rapidly flaps its wings in the grass, stirring up a dust cloud that drives insect prey out into the open. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Pidgey has an extremely sharp sense of direction. It is capable of unerringly returning home to its nest, however far it may be removed from its familiar surroundings. Pidgeotto, 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 Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto. Pokemon Red, Blue, Leaf Green, and Pokemon Y. Very protective of its sprawling territorial area, this Pokemon will fiercely peck at any intruder. Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Heart Gold. It has outstanding vision. However high it flies, it is able to distinguish the movements of its prey. Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Soul Silver. It renders its prey immobile using well-developed claws, then carries the prey more than 60 miles to its nest. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Pidgeotto climbs a large area as its own territory. This Pokemon flies around, patrolling its living space. If its territory is violated, it shows no mercy in thoroughly punishing the foe with its sharp claws. Pidgeot. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. This Pokemon flies at Mach 2 speed, seeking prey. Its large talons are feared as wicked weapons. Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Heart Gold. Its well-developed chest muscles make it strong enough to whip up a gusty windstorm with just a few flaps. Pokemon Crystal. Its outstanding vision allows it to spot splashing Magikarp even while flying at 3,300 feet. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. This Pokemon has a dazzling plumage of beautifully glossy feathers. Many trainers are captivated by the striking beauty of the feathers on its head, compelling them to choose Pidgeot as their Pokemon. Mega Pidgeot. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. With its muscular strength now greatly increased, it can fly continuously for 2 weeks without resting. Spearow. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Inept at flying high. However, it can fly around very fast to protect its territory. Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Heart Gold. It flaps its short wings to flush out insects from tall grass. It then plucks them with its stubby beak. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Spearow has a very loud cry that can be heard over half a keening cry is heard echoing all around. It is a sign that they are warning each other of danger. Pokemon Moon. Farmers whose fields are troubled by bug Pokemon appreciate Spearow for its vigorous appetite and look after it. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Its reckless nature leads it to stand up to others, even large Pokemon, if it has to protect its territory. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Due to its short wings, it can't fly long distances. It wanders about restlessly and pecks at bug Pokemon. Fearow. Pokemon Red, Blue, Leaf Green, and Pokemon X. With its huge and magnificent wings, it can keep aloft without ever having to land for rest. Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Heart Gold. It shoots itself suddenly high into the sky, then plummets down in one fell swoop to strike its prey. Pokemon Crystal. It uses its long beak to attack. It has a surprisingly long reach, so it must be treated with caution. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Fearow is recognized by its long neck and elongated beak. They are conveniently shaped for catching prey in soil or water. It deftly moves its long and skinny beak to pluck prey. Pokemon Diamond, Platinum, Pearl, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. It has the stamina to fly all day on its broad wings. It fights by using its sharp beak. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Carrying food through Fearow's territory is dangerous. It will snatch the food away from you in a flash. Pokemon Ultra Moon and Alola, fish Pokemon, are its prey. It can be seen circling above the ocean, searching for food. Far-fetched. Far-fetched. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Lives where reedy plants grow. They are rarely seen, so it's thought their numbers are decreasing. Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Soul Silver. If it eats the plant stick it carries as emergency rations, it runs off in search of a new stick. Pokemon Crystal. In order to prevent their extinction, more people have made an effort to breed these Pokemon. Pokemon Leaf Green and Pokemon X. The plant stalk it holds is its weapon. The stalk is used like a sword to cut all sorts of things. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White 2, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. It can't live without the stalk it holds. That's why it defends the stalk from attackers with its life. Pokemon Sword. The stalk this Pokemon carries in its wings serve as a sword to cut down opponents. In a dire situation, the stalk can also serve as food. Pokemon Shield. They use a plant stalk as a weapon, but not all of them use it in the same way. Several distinct styles of stalk fighting have been observed. Duo. Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. Its short wings make flying difficult. Instead, this Pokemon runs at high speed on developed legs. Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Heart Gold. By alternately raising and lowering its two heads, it balances itself to be more stable while running. Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Soul Silver. It races through grassy plains with powerful strides, leaving footprints up to 4 inches deep. Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Omega Ruby. Doduo's two heads never sleep at the same time. Its two heads take turns sleeping, so one head can always keep watch for enemies while the other one sleeps. Pokemon Sapphire and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Doduo's two heads contain completely identical brains. A scientific study reported that on rare occasions there will be examples of this Pokemon possessing different sets of brains. Pokemon Fire Red and Pokemon X. A two-headed Pokemon that was discovered as a sudden mutation. It runs at a pace of over 60 miles per hour. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White 2, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. The brains in its two heads appear to communicate emotions to each other with a telepathic power. Dodrio. Pokemon Red, Blue, and Pokemon Leaf Green uses its 3 brains to execute complex plans. While 2 heads sleep, 1 head stays awake. Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Heart Gold. It collects data and plans 3 times as wisely, but it may think too much and become immobilized. Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Soul Silver. If one of the heads gets to eat, the others will be satisfied too, and they will stop squabbling. Pokemon Sapphire and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Apparently, the heads aren't the only parts of the body that Dodrio has 3 of. It has 3 sets of hearts and lungs as well, so it is capable of running long distances without rest. Pokemon Fire Red and Pokemon Y. An odd species that is rarely found. The 3 heads respectively represent joy, sadness, and anger. Pokemon Emerald. A peculiar Pokemon species with 3 heads. It vigorously races across grassy plains, even in arid seasons with little rainfall. Hoot, 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 hoot. Hoot, hoot. Pokemon Gold, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Sword. It changes feet so fast the movement can rarely be seen. Pokemon Silver, Fire Red, Soul Silver, and Pokemon X. It has a perfect sense of time. Whatever happens, it keeps rhythm by precisely tilting its head in time. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Hoot Hoot has an internal organ that senses and tracks the Earth's rotation. Using this special organ, this Pokemon begins hooting at precisely the same time every day. Pokemon Platinum. It marks time precisely. Some countries consider it to be a wise friend versed in the world's ways. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Every day, it tilts its head in the same rhythm. A long time ago, people raised these Pokemon to serve as clocks. Pokemon Ultra Moon. It cries out at the same time every day. A long time ago, people cherished it and considered it a divine messenger sent to tell the time. Knock, Towel. Pokemon Silver, Fire Red, Soul Silver, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Shield. When it needs to think, it rotates its head 180 degrees to sharpen its intellectual power. Pokemon Crystal. Its extremely soft feathers make no sound in flight. It silently sneaks up on prey without being detected. Pokemon Pearl and Shining Pearl. If it flips its head upside down, it's a sign that it is engaged in very complex thinking. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White 2, and Pokemon Sword. Its eyes are specially developed to enable it to see clearly even in murky darkness and minimal light. Pokemon Ultra Sun. With eyes that can see in pitch darkness, it never lets its prey escape. Some even call it the Emperor of Dark Nights. Pokemon Ultra Moon. When it turns its head entirely upside down, you know it's troubled by something. If you don't leave it be, it will peck you. Tailo. Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Omega Ruby. Tailo courageously stands its ground against foes. However strong they may be, this gutsy Pokemon will remain defiant even after a loss. On the other hand, it cries loudly if it becomes hungry. Pokemon Sapphire and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Tailo is young. It has only just left its nest. As a result, it sometimes becomes lonesome and cries at night. This Pokemon feeds on Wurmple that live in forests. Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Pokemon Y. It dislikes cold seasons. They migrate to other lands in search of warmth, flying over 180 miles a day. Pokemon Emerald. Although it is small, it is very courageous. It will take on a larger Skarmory on an equal footing. Swellow. Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Omega Ruby. Swellow flies high above our heads, making graceful arcs in the sky. This Pokemon dives at a steep angle as soon as it spots its prey. The hapless prey is tightly grasped by Swellow's clawed feet, preventing escape. Pokemon Sapphire and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Swellow is very conscientious about the upkeep of its glossy wings. Once two Swellow are gathered, they diligently take care of cleaning each other's wings. Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Pokemon X. If its two tail feathers are standing at attention, it is proof of good health. It soars elegantly in the sky. Suave. wings that are like cottony clouds. This Pokemon is not frightened of people. It lands on the heads of people and sits there like a cotton fluff hat. Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Scarlet. It constantly grooms its cotton-like wings. It takes a shower to clean itself if it becomes dirty. Pokemon Emerald, a Pokemon that has wings like cottony clouds. After enduring winter, in which little food is available, Swablu flocks move closer to towns in the spring. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White, and Pokemon Violet. It can't relax if it or its surroundings are not clean. It wipes off dirt with its wings. Pokemon Shield. Since Swablu looks like a cumulus cloud, foes can have a hard time finding it. Apparently, its wings turned white over many generations. Starly. Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon Shining Pearl. Usually with a large flock, it is barely noticeable when alone. Its cries are very strident. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White 2, and Pokemon Violet. Because they are weak individually, they form groups. However, they bicker if the group grows too big. Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, and Pokemon Scarlet. They flock around mountains and fields, chasing after bug Pokemon. Their singing is noisy and annoying. Pokemon Legends Arceus. They live in the fields and mountains, gathering in large flocks. Their cries are quite obnoxious. Though small, their wings are strong. A strike from them leaves pain that persists for a week. Staravia, Pokemon Diamond, and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. It flies around forests and fields in search of bug Pokemon. It stays within a huge flock. Pokemon Pearl, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. It lives in forests and fields. Squabbles over territory occur when flocks collide. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White 2, and Pokemon Scarlet. Recognizing their own weakness, they always live in a group. When alone, a Staravia cries noisily. Pokemon Legends Arceus. They form remarkably large flocks and are constantly fighting amongst themselves. I suspect that those with magnificent plumes on their heads are the strong ones. Staraptor. Pokemon Pearl, Pokemon X, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. The muscles in its wings and legs are strong. It can easily fly while gripping a small Pokemon. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White 2, and Pokemon Violet. It never stops attacking even if it is injured. It fusses over the shape of its comb. Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, and Pokemon Scarlet. When Staravia evolve into Staraptor, they leave the flock to live alone. They have sturdy wings. Pokemon Legends Arceus. It has left the flock, having gained strength enough to survive on its own. The astounding force with which Staraptor flies through the air allows it to carry away large, burly targets. Chatot, 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 chatot. Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. It can learn and speak human words. If they gather, they all learn the same saying. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White, and Pokemon Black and White too. Its tongue is just like a human's. As a result, it can cleverly mimic human speech. Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Omega Ruby. It mimics the cries of other Pokemon to trick them into thinking it's one of them. This way, they won't attack it. Pokemon Legends Arceus, a versatile performer skilled in the imitation of human speech. It is said that older, more experienced Chatot can even understand the meaning of the words they mimic. Pidove, Pokemon Black. Each follow its trainer's orders as best it can, but they sometimes fail to understand complicated commands. Pokemon White, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. These Pokemon live in cities. They are accustomed to people. Flocks often gather in parks and plazas. Pokemon Sword, where people go. These Pokemon follow. If they're scattering food for them, be careful. Several hundred of them can gather at once. Pokemon Shield. It's forgetful and not very bright, but many trainers love it anyway for its friendliness and sincerity. Tranquil, 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 tranquil. Pokemon Black. It can return to its trainer's location regardless of the distance separating them. Pokemon White, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Ruby. Many people believe that deep in the forest, where Tranquil live, there is a peaceful place where there is no war. Pokemon Black and White too, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. No matter where in the world it goes, it knows where its nest is, so it never gets separated from its trainer. Pokemon Shield. These bright Pokemon have acute memories. Apparently, delivery workers often choose them as their partners. Female Unpheasant. Pokemon Sword. Females of this species are very capable flyers, particularly notable for their stamina. They also take longer to adjust to people. Male Unpheasant. Pokemon Sword. Unpheasant are exceptional flyers. The females are known for their stamina, while the males outclass them in terms of speed. Unpheasant. Pokemon White, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Males have plumage on their heads. They will never let themselves feel close to anyone other than their trainers. Pokemon Shield. This Pokemon is intelligent and intensely proud. People will sit up and take notice if you become the trainer of one. Rufflet, 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 Rufflet. Pokemon Black and White too. It stands up to massive opponents, not out of courage, but out of recklessness. But that is how it gets stronger. Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Scarlet. They pick fights indiscriminately. They grow stronger and more powerful each time they faint or are injured. Pokemon Moon and Pokemon Violet. With its sharp claws, this Pokemon pierces its prey, and then it pecks at them. Although it also consumes berries, it's a carnivore at heart. Pokemon Ultra Sun. With its powerful legs and sturdy claws, it can crack even the hard shells of Shelter and pluck out their insides. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Known as a natural-born warrior. Soon after its hatching, it will challenge its parents to a fight in order to gain their acceptance. Pokemon Sword. If it spies a strong Pokemon, Rufflet can't resist challenging it to a battle. But if Rufflet loses, it starts bawling. Pokemon Shield. A combative Pokemon, it's ready to pick a fight with anyone. It has talons that can crush hard berries. Braviary. Pokemon Black and White 2, Pokemon X, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Violet. For the sake of its friends, this brave warrior of the sky will not stop battling, even if injured. Pokemon Sun. With its brave disposition, it fears nothing, not even death. Ancient Alolan people respected it, referring to it as the hero of the sky. Pokemon Moon. It's thought that people disturbed their habitats in the past, so Braviary banded together to fight back. Pokemon Ultra Sun. The more scars it has on its front, the more heroic it's considered to be. Those with many scars on their back are mocked by the flock. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Known as the hero of the skies. This Pokemon is so proud and so brave that it will never retreat, even when it's injured. Pokemon Shield. Because this Pokemon is hot-headed and belligerent, it's Corviknight that's taken the role of transportation in Galar. Tornadus. Incarnate form. Pokemon Black, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Omega Ruby. The lower half of its body is wrapped in a cloud of energy. It zooms through the sky at 200 miles per hour. Pokemon White, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Tornadus expels massive energy from its tail, causing severe storms. Its power is great enough to blow houses away. Pokemon Legends Arceus. This storm-stirring Pokemon is said to cause the seasons to turn by whipping up the air. I suspect its human-like form to be a false one. Tornadus. Therian form. Pokemon Legends Arceus. An example of what is known as a form change. Though I suspect this strange avian guise to be Tornadus' true form. Tornadus has been sighted crossing the ocean while in this form. Fledgling. Pokemon X and Pokemon Omega Ruby. These friendly Pokemon send signals to one another with beautiful chirps and tail feather movements. Pokemon Moon. When it's excited, its temperature can double, spiking hormone production in its body. Pokemon Ultra Sun. While it's an amiable Pokemon, if you touch it unexpectedly, it will heat up its body in an instant you'll be burned. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Its body is always warm. Trainers who live in cold areas apparently sleep with it in their bed. Pokemon Sword. Its melodious cries are actually warnings. Fletchling will mercilessly peck at anything that enters its territory. Pokemon Scarlet. This Pokemon is normally calm, but once it enters battle, its hormonal balance changes and it becomes aggressive. Pokemon Violet. Fletchling can be found in both rural and urban areas. They once had a huge territorial dispute with Squawkabilly. Fights broke out all over town. Pick-a-peck, 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 pick-a-peck. Pokemon Sun. It can peck at a rate of 16 times a second to drill holes in trees. It uses the holes for food storage and for nesting. Pokemon Moon. This Pokemon feeds on berries whose leftover seeds become the ammunition for the attacks it fires off from its mouth. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It pecks at trees with its hard beak. You can get some idea of its mood or condition from the rhythm of its pecking. Drumbeak. Pokemon Moon. By bending its beak, it can produce a variety of calls and brand itself a noisy nuisance for its neighbors. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It can bend the tip of its beak to produce over 100 different cries at will. Pokemon Ultra Moon. From its mouth, it fires the seeds of berries it has eaten. The scattered seeds give rise to new plants. Toucanon, 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 toucanon. Pokemon Sun. When it battles, its beak heats up. The temperature can easily exceed 212 degrees Fahrenheit, causing severe burns when it hits. Pokemon Moon. Within its beak, its internal gas ignites, explosively launching seeds with enough power to pulverize boulders. Pokemon Ultra Sun. They smack beaks with others of their kind to communicate. The strength and number of hits tell each other how they feel. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Known for forming harmonious couples, this Pokemon is brought to wedding ceremonies as a good luck charm. Rookity, 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 rookity. Rookity. Pokemon Sword. It will bravely challenge any opponent, no matter how powerful. This Pokemon benefits from every battle. Even a defeat increases its strength a bit. Pokemon Shield. Jumping nimbly about, this small-bodied Pokemon takes advantage of even the slightest opportunity to disorient larger opponents. Pokemon Scarlet. This Pokemon is brave and reckless. The white markings around a Rookity's eyes intimidate faint-hearted Pokemon. Pokemon Violet. The females are fussier than the males. If another creature dirties a female Rookity's wings, it'll peck the offender relentlessly in a burning rage. Corvus Squire. Corvus Squire. Pokemon Sword. Smart enough to use tools in battle. These Pokemon have been seen picking up rocks and slinging them, or using ropes to wrap up enemies. Pokemon Scarlet. It's said that the reason behind Corvisquire's high level of intelligence is the large size of its brain relative to those of other bird Pokemon. Pokemon Violet. This intelligent Pokemon will quickly learn how to use any tool it can hold in its beak or its talons. Corviknight. Corviknight. Pokemon Sword. This Pokemon reigns supreme in the skies of the Galar region. The black luster of its steel body could drive terror into the heart of any foe. Pokemon Shield. With their great intellect and flying skills, these Pokemon very successfully act as the Galar region's airborne taxi service. Pokemon Scarlet. Corviknight can't serve as a taxi service in Paldea because the Pokemon's natural predators will attack it while it flies, endangering the customer. Gigantamaxed Corviknight. Pokemon Sword. Imbued with Gigantamax energy, its wings can whip up winds more forceful than any hurricane could muster. The gusts blow everything away. Pokemon Shield. The 8 feathers on its back are called blade birds, and they can launch off its body to attack foes independently. Enamorous. Incarnate form. Pokemon Legends Arceus. When it flies to this land from across the sea, the bitter winter comes to an end. According to legend, this Pokemon's love gives rise to the budding of fresh life across Hisui. Enamorous. Therian form. Pokemon Legends Arceus. A different guise from its feminine humanoid form. From the clouds, it descends upon those who treat any form of life with disrespect and metes out wrathful, ruthless punishment. Squawkabilly. Green plumage. Pokemon Scarlet. These Pokemon prefer to live in cities. They form flocks based on the color of their feathers, and they fight over territory. Pokemon Violet. Green feathered flocks hold the most sway. When they're out searching for food in the mornings and evenings, it gets very noisy. Squawkabilly. Blue plumage. Pokemon Scarlet. The largest of their flocks can contain more than 50 individuals. They fly around towns and forests, searching for food and making a racket. Pokemon Violet. Blue feathered Squawkabilly view their green feathered counterparts as rivals, since the latter make up the largest, most powerful groups. Squawkabilly. Yellow plumage. Pokemon Scarlet. These Squawkabilly are hot-headed, and their fighting style is vicious. They'll leap within reach of their foes to engage in close combat. Pokemon Violet. The yellow Squawkabilly are especially fierce. They've even been known to drive other bird Pokemon out of town. Squawkabilly. White plumage. Pokemon Scarlet. This Pokemon dislikes being alone. It has a strong sense of community and survives by cooperating with allies. Pokemon Violet. Though these Squawkabilly are the fewest in number, they have no trouble in living in towns since they blend in with the white buildings. Bomb It gathers things up in an apron made from shed feathers, added to the Pokemon's chest feathers, then drop those things from high places for fun. Pokemon Violet. Bombardier uses the apron on its chest to bundle up food, which it carries back to its nest. It enjoys dropping things that make loud noises. Iron Jugulus. Pokemon Scarlet. It resembles a certain Pokemon introduced in a paranormal magazine, described as the offspring of a Hydreigon that fell in love with a robot. And that concludes our Pokemon Pokedex readings for flying types. But before you go, I have a question to ask. If you were to set up a bird feeder in your backyard, what kind of flying type Pokemon would you want to appear? I think I would make it simple, because I don't want anything too big to show up, and would just want the cute little ones to visit, like Pidgeys, Spearows, Starlies, the small flying types, and maybe even like a Doduo or two, because I don't think they're that big. But the one I would really, really hope to show up would be a Swablu, just because reading their dex entries makes me wanna touch one. Especially the dex entry where they said they like to sit on your head, because I would like a